Burpee broad jumps. Every race that feels like there's some form of controversy. People say the standards aren't met. What are the standards? How do you get better at them? What are the different techniques you can use that are the correct technique to help improve you? Each one of them will be slightly different, but each one of them might work better for you than another one. Let's go through them today. Let's make sure that there's no mystery around this movement. Let's make sure on the day you're not getting penalised, because there's nothing worse than putting all that effort in and being an inch or two out and getting sent back a step or two. So, even for the more experienced Hyrox athlete, there has been a change in the rule book. So make sure you're up to date and you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing to hit those standards and not get a penalty. When we're talking about an update and a change, the rule is you have to land both feet at the same time. So there's none of these little skips. It's come up and land at the exact same time, so it's really clear for the judge. A mistake that you see all the time, and you will get pulled back for it, is the hand placement. So the official rule is 1 foot length away from where your feet are placed. So that's where you can land. So this is really hard to judge, especially from a volunteer's perspective. You've got to be 1 foot length away from where you've landed, from where your feet are. To make sure you're not getting penalised, just try and keep those hands as close as possible to your feet. It's really going to help and make that really clear to the judge, to the volunteer, that there's no need to penalise you here. I've seen a lot of it, I'm sure a lot of people have, and I'm sure a lot of people make a genuine mistake that when they land forward. And sometimes that's just momentum, and sometimes that's just trying to get that extra 1%. But landing forward, even by a couple of inches, it's going to leave you in a position of getting a penalty. Superman, are really reaching out forward, it's got to get you a penalty. It's definitely going to get you sent back. So just when we're practicing these, make sure those hands are coming right by the feet. Try and keep it as close as you can. You don't have to touch your feet, but you do have to be pretty close, just to make sure there's no room for error. Something to be mindful of is standing up or staying close to the ground. When you're doing the bunny hops or any variation of this, your best bet is to stay as low as you can and jump forward from there. One, it's an explosive position, and two, it's wasting time by standing up and giving yourself that full extension. However, if you stand up and give yourself that full extension, you can take a second to breathe. So it's something to really think about. It's something to work out. Maybe there's a strategy in play. Maybe there's 2 or 3 staying low, and on the 4th you stand up straight, take a big breath and go again. Or maybe you've got the capacity to just stay low the whole time and burst through it. These are things to think about. One of the movement standards that we want to make sure we're getting right is where the foot lands when you're coming up. With the bunny hop style, like the first style that we showed you today, where you jump up, this isn't really an issue because your feet, you're not going to go past your hands with that movement. But that is a hard technique, a hard standard to keep doing. It's a long way to go, and it becomes very cardiovascular based. So for me, it's not the movement standard that I like to hit. I like to step up, but you've got to be really careful on those step ups. So with the step up, when your hands are placed, what you can't do is step up past your hand. And a lot of people, they will come up, hands down, and they will step past the hand. Only a couple of inches, maybe a couple of centimeters, but it makes all the difference when you're covering that kind of distance in a Hyrox. So really be careful to step up in line with the hand. Once again, practice these standards. You don't want to get tired on the day and you get that brain fog and that race brain, and you start stepping past your hand and getting pulled back. Practice the movement that is going to be best for you and that you know you can hold. So with a lot of these different variations on the Burpee broad jump, what you've got to do is really practice all 3 and work out what you're going to be able to hold. Now the bunny hop version, which you see someone like Hunter McIntyre doing, is an incredible way of getting through it. It's so fast, it's so quick, it's very taxing on the system. It's something that if you were fresh and I asked you to do it, you'd probably have no issue at all. But 20, 30 minutes into a race, when you start trying to do that, you might make a couple and then you might even make the whole way, but it's will you pay for it later on in the race. So these are things that you've got to consider. It's just worth considering and practicing. If you can do it and you're strong enough, your cardiovascular is strong enough to do it, then amazing. But play around with it. Try the knee, try stepping up, and really see what's going to be able to get you through that race. Maybe even a combination of all 3. But keep the standards in mind. Where our hands are landing, are we stepping past? Are we landing with both feet? Are we shuffling? Are we taking any extra little steps? You've got to be really mindful, because Hyrox are really cracking down on this, and I don't want to see you get there and get pulled back. And then sometimes people get annoyed and frustrated, and it really does, it wrecks the day. So practice it, work out which one works best for you, and implement. Get that strategy in play. Work out, do you need to stand up tall, take the breath, or can you stay low? These are things to be mindful of. Guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Remember, we're there to enjoy it. Remember, the people out there generally are volunteers giving up their time so this event can actually happen. So if the worst comes to the worst and you do get pulled back, try and keep calm. Once the decision's been made, generally it's going to stick. I hope it helps. If it does, send it to a friend, share it with somebody, make sure everyone's on the same page. And like, subscribe, helps me keep creating the content. Thanks, guys.